I'm here today with Aaron Vanderkley, filmmaker, Perth-based, who I know from the Doctor Who and Star Trek community, the fan films that you're responsible for.
This is true, yes.
Tell us, how did you get started in filmmaking and pop culture?
I think when I was a kid, I made little films with my family. I wrote my family in as actors, sometimes crew, making little Doctor Who films, essentially.
On what would you shoot those?
Oh, I can't even remember what type of camera it was. All I remember was that it was big, it was silver, it had an eyepiece like a viewfinder, and it was recorded on a tape, so you had to convert it to the computer in order to edit it.
Did you do all that as well, the editing?
Yeah.
See, I have a history of that as well with me and my brother on a little camcorder, but I wouldn't go as far as to edit. My brother would know the effects that you can do on the camera, the fade in, fade out and that, but it would never get onto the computer.
I had I think it was Video Studio Pro, or Corel Video Studio Pro, and it converted from camera to like a digital format, and I used to edit it. I had a whole Doctor Who series going.
And you were the Doctor?
I was the Doctor, obviously.
Of
I was
course.
the Doctor. The funny part is, I called myself the 8.5 Doctor.
Right, because what year would this be?
This would have started in about 2002.
Right, a little bit, 3 years before it came back with the 9th Doctor.
Yeah, and before the War Doctor. And
Of
so
course.
in my series, I was the Doctor that fought the Time War.
Well, that's
and then Stephen Moffat stole my whole thing.
Was there a Time War? I forget where that originates from, whether it was original to the 2005 series, or was there already this idea that there was a big war?
I feel like I probably would have got it from the first series, the Christopher Eccleston series.
Because otherwise you could sue.
Yeah. Well, I've got the footage of it, so. but yeah, so from that, it just somehow turned into a thing that I made films in my free time, and then that turned into going to uni and studying screen production. Yeah, so Bachelor of Media. Well, I mean, when I was in high school, I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And of course, it was one of those things that, that's not really a job. So you must get your degree first, and then when you have your degree, then you can pursue those avenues.
A lot of people have that.
Yes. It's very common.
Big dream.
Yes.
I think I wanted to be an actor at that young age, hence the fan films. But I think once I grew up into the sort of shy and reserved teenager, I think I put that aside and went behind the camera is better.
Yeah.
And so your love of Doctor Who obviously started at a young age. You didn't make Star Trek fan films at that age then?
No, I'm not sure why. I think I attempted once, but I think just with the Star Trek has all these sets and things like that. I had a TARDIS console room set up in a spare room in a house, and I had a police box.
What were they made of? Cardboard?
Wood? Yeah.
See, my TARDIS was made just cardboard boxes. Yours is the real deal.
My dad made a police box for me. Actually, he made a console first, then he made a police box. And then when the new series came back and how the interior door was just the physical police box doors, we made a sort of thing that would sit in front of the door frame at home, so it looked like a police box, and then when you opened the door, it was the console room.
Have these ever seen the light of day on YouTube? The general public would not have seen any of this.
I don't think so. I was very young at the time.
Probably wise, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think I've posted screenshots of mine.
Okay.
Just to prove that I was a fan as a kid, basically, for those sort of nostalgic posts on Twitter back in the day. But that's as far as ever has been posted and will probably ever be posted. And were you watching Star Trek? Because I know it's a more adult program than Doctor Who, certainly classic Doctor Who. But I would watch my dad watch it.
Yeah,
Next Gen.
I'm the same. That's how I got into it. I watched Doctor Who, Thunderbirds, Lost in Space, Star Trek as a kid because my dad, would go to the local video. Young people don't know about this.
I have to explain to
but
there
used to be shops where you could go and hire out for money, $1.10, I think it was, a VHS. And Dad, I remember my earliest memory is a bit of a cheat of Doctor Who, but it is a nightmare I had from watching Spearhead from Space, where I'm running down an English high street and they're chased by the Autons, and there's an alleyway, and I go into the alleyway, it's littered with dead bodies, and I think, I don't know how old I was, it must have been 6 or 7, and I was like, I'll play dead, and so I'm lying up against this bin, pretending to be dead, and, hear this footsteps, I don't open my eyes and the footsteps go away, and then I open my eyes and there's a hand in front of my face and the hands part way and I get shot, and that's how I woke up.
Brilliant.
But that's my first memory of Doctor Who. That's the earliest memory I have, is this nightmare from my dad's hiring a VHS.
Great. I'm sure a psychiatrist would have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Terrifying visual for a 7-year-old to be having. And so, where did you and I meet, actually?
I feel like it's through Josh.
Yes, I think so. Josh Snares, the
YouTuber.
I was going to say infamous, maybe, Doctor Who YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we met sort of around the time where you and Josh made a Dalek fan film. What was it before that?
I think it was earlier. Because I'm pretty sure I was talking to Josh. I can't remember. I didn't even know how Josh and I met. Or met online, I should say.
Yeah.
But then Josh set up like a Zoom chat and invited you as well. And then it was like, oh wow, there's a community here.
Yeah, that's right. Because it was odd. It was probably during the pandemic when no one was.
Potentially.
Yeah, I remember it being odd to realise actually, of all the people that I talked to on Zoom, this guy's actually in the same city as me, which is like unheard of.
Yeah.
So then we actually could meet up in person. But I remember when Josh came over, and that was the first time the three of us were in the same room.
Yeah.
And you were filming, I think, sort of the final shots of this Dalek fan film that you had made.
That's right.
Tell us about that, because that's sort of topical at the moment, what with the Daleks Master Plan.
Yeah, it's
connection.
actually kind of convenient that it was literally based on the Daleks Master Plan, and here we are with exciting Dalek Master Plan.
It was a prequel, wasn't it? So you could link it directly into...
So that whole project started, it definitely was pre-pandemic, and the idea was that we were going to do a 3-part mini-series of short films, and I wrote the first one, Josh was going to write the second one, and then we were going to collaborate on the third one. But essentially it was, setting up a prequel to Dalek's Master Plan. My story, which was kind of a rip-off actually of a Companion Chronicle story, but essentially a Dalek ship and a pilot, a Space Security Service pilot, both crash land on the same planet, and they have to, form some unlikely bond to survive. So it was going to be like a jungle set, obviously very Master Plan.
Yeah.
And that was my story. And then Josh's one, I feel like it was pretty similar to what became the film that we did, which was Might of the Daleks. And then the third one was going to be about like the what do you call it? The Galactic Council.
Sure.
From that.
The delegates.
Yeah. And it was going to be set on Peladon.
Okay.
And I think Josh was going to sort of turn that whole like Federation thing from Peladon into that Galactic Council.
It feels like it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we were going to do that, and then obviously the pandemic hit. And then I think one day, a few years later, Josh was like, hey, I'm coming over to Perth to record a podcast or something like that. Which seems like a massive stretch to travel all this way, but nevertheless.
I never know what Josh is doing.
So Josh was like, hey, should we do this thing? And I'll rewrite my script and we'll just do one, which I was fine with. So I essentially produced that, got all the actors, crew, sets, props. We had to build a Dalek. We were building a Dalek at the time. We had to finish it.
You building a Dalek anyway, just for lol?
Just for fun.
Yeah, right.
We sort of had to like rush to finish it because I think we only had about a month's notice.
That Josh was coming over.
Yeah. Or maybe that's a lie and it was 3 months. I'm pretty sure it was 1.
Well, that can often just be the great thing that you need as a catalyst of a deadline to get something done.
Yes.
And I've been to your studio, as it were.
Yes.
Where you made that film.
Correct.
I was surprised. If you watch the film, you wouldn't believe what a small space.
It's in a double-car garage.
There you are.
Yeah. But so we shot over 3 days just because from previous experience doing these Star Trek fan films, it's often best to just have one set and leave that for the day and shoot for the day and then change it over. Sometimes I tried to do 2 in one day, which is more stressful. But so it was a 3-day shoot that we did this story about a planet where continent A and continent B are at war with each other, and one side is being aided by the Daleks, who are in fact testing the time destructor from the Daleks Master Plan. And that's sort of the prequel story to what sets off those events in motion.
That's great. And how do you feel now that the more episodes of Master Plan are out?
What was really funny is I don't think I ever watched or watched it or heard it in complete context before we did Josh's film.
Right.
So
in prep, what did you do? Watch the loose cannon or
I actually can't remember.
the reconstruction?
I think I must have, because I think Josh had animated some of them. I think Josh had sent me them.
I think he animated all of them, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe he did.
Yeah.
I think that's what I watched.
Hmm.
And obviously the surviving episodes I'd seen because I have the Lost in Time box set.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never sat down and enjoyed it in its entirety. But it's definitely, I can see why Josh in particular is so drawn to the world of it, because it is rich with all these different planets and these concepts, and it really is an epic story. So there's lots of things, many things to explore, go off and explore.
And I love that we have the episodes that have been found are from that early part of the story where it is very much Terry Nation's vision of that space security service, the James Bond in space type stuff. And it does feel like a James Bond epic, really.
Yeah.
And so that very much feeds into the angle that you took with your film, rather than, your film is less of the Dennis Spooner type of chase stuff, which is good fun, but not as dramatic.
It has a bit of grit to it. It's very adult and dark. But to be able to see those bits, I think the funny part is watching like a reconstruction and then watching them side by side and seeing what people got close and what is completely different, not for any sort of wrong reason, just because it's a different interpretation of how it's being shot.
I went through the camera script of episode 1 yesterday, just along with the loose cannon and the episode, just to see the little things that you couldn't have predicted, and just the fact that the reconstructions were also made before episode 2 was found.
Yeah.
They don't even really quite know what that set looks like of the Dalek, the entrance way, the sort of spaceport, because the camera script does reference that there should be a Dalek-style door, as in you would think those of curved doors that is in the reconstruction.
Yeah.
Just absent completely. No one knows why, I guess. But did you copy some of that Dalek architecture for your film, or wasn't set on Dalek?
No, it wasn't set. The only thing we did
City.
was like there was a Dalek ship, which for budget reasons ended up being a black cloth, and then we sort of built one of the sort of classic Dalek panels with the swirly thing at the back, which we didn't have time to spin, but the intention was that it was going to spin and make some sort of geometric shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only sort of Dalek thing we had to do.
I remember the model shots in your film.
Yeah.
It must be nice to be able to take inspiration from that sort of 60s design. And easier, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that was probably the only way we were going to do it. I feel like unless it was going to be some sort of like photo composite thing, it probably wouldn't have been very of the time.
And did you feel that you had a bit more leeway to cut corners, as it were, making a film that replicates 60s videotape television versus making a Star Trek fan film, which are always pretty... If you're trying to replicate Star Trek, which looks pretty slick.
I think it's just... Really, it's just a matter of time. If you had all the time in the world, you'd make it as good as possible. And the fact that we were shooting on digital anyway, and it was 4K, and we were shooting in colour, because there was a possibility of, okay, maybe we can do a cut, or Josh thought about doing a colour edit for it, which never happened.
And what happened to that?
I think it was just, we tried to sort of pick colours that would look good in black and white, and in colour, it just seemed very oversaturated.
Yeah.
And the sort of the moodiness of, 60s Doctor Who is very much of the era, and to I feel like when you're doing a colorization,
careful.
But you can build on that world in ways that they couldn't at the time. You don't expect certain colors to be present in the original version of it. Whereas this, because we were aiming to replicate how the shadows and the greys would look in black and white.
Very true.
Looking at it in colour, it just didn't... It wasn't as exciting.
That is the funny thing. I think I might have had this discussion talking about there's a Spider-Man film that is coming out, a noir Spider-Man with Nick Cage, and it's coming out in black and white and colour.
Okay.
And we just sort of think, if you're making a black and white program properly, you will choose colours that don't look so good in colour.
Yeah.
So you're making a halfway house between the two if you do think about putting it out in colour as well as black and white. And I guess they thought the same, the chaps who did the Mission to the Unknown recon.
Yeah.
Because I remember someone saying that was shot in colour as well, but have never seen the light of day, the colour.
Yeah, I remember seeing a couple of clips from it. But
Yeah,
I watched it again recently. It is very dark.
It's very dark on the YouTube upload. I feel like it wasn't at one point.
Okay.
I feel like that's an error at some point.
But I was thinking maybe it has something to do with the colours and things being so... Like, I mean, one of the reoccurring colours in our set was blue, and this sort of rich blue colour, and like one of the characters had a blue costume, but the way that shows up in black and white is just a smidge off black.
Yeah, right.
So it has a bit of depth to it, and I feel like sometimes, yeah, when you have so many dark colours and blacks in the thing, it reads as void.
Yeah, you need some separation between your elements. You know?
Yeah.
I've seen people colour clips from the new Master Plan episodes, and I haven't gone into that yet, because there's an element of, I don't want to spoil the feeling of it too soon, you know. I'll do that later.
Yeah.
The desire to keep it fresh, because the experience of watching the first 3 episodes of Master Plan, being so familiar with episode 2, having colorized it, you go from this exhilarating experience, this brand new thing that it's like an old friend, and it's sort of impossible to describe.
Yeah.
And then you straight away go into this thing that you know like the back of your hand, and it's like, okay, this again. And your mind sort of goes into autopilot in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then back into episode 3, and it's like, but they all go together.
Yeah.
And yet in your mind, it's a completely different
There's
experience.
a bit of separation.
I sort of long for the day when eventually they will feel of a piece, which they are and they should be, but they don't feel that way at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm savouring the experience of having a new missing episode.
Hey, we might have a long wait before the next one, so
we
make
might,
the most of it.
Yeah. Or we might not. We might have Film is Fabulous turning up a whole bunch more, hopefully. Episode 4, hopefully. So, on your fan films,
yes,
The Might of the Daleks was not your first Doctor Who fan film. You did an adaptation of a Big Finish audio story.
Yeah.
So, The Resistance, right?
Yeah, Resistance.
Resistance.
Yep.
Not The Resistance.
Not The Resistance. Just Resistance.
I see. Where did this come in terms of your Star Trek fan films? Because was this the first thing?
No.
Big project? Or?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I did. I was in third year uni, and the university experience for film was not a fulfilling one. So I was like, hey, it's 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. We had semester break. Let's do a project. And I sort of put it out to friends that I'd made at uni, and I got an overwhelming response. And yet people wanted to come on board during that semester break and help make this Doctor Who film. And it was, we were going to shoot it in the 60s style, which didn't quite end up happening the way I expected it to. But just got loads of university friends, some tutors. The uni signed off on giving us hiring out equipment and stuff to us, and we did this 2-part Doctor Who epic.
That's great. And was that inspired by anything in terms of, I haven't seen anyone else do a visual live action adaptation of a Big Finish audio, I don't think.
I think no, not really. I feel like Doctor Who fan films are either, they're in 2 categories. There's either very old, like 80s, 90s fan films, or there's like kids on YouTube. And those kids have grown up to become people that work on Big Finish, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But it sort of fell into those 2 categories. And so, there wasn't any adaptions or things like that I'd really seen. But I think the only thing that really inspired me, ironically, was a Star Trek fan film where they were trying to recreate the sort of 60s Star Trek. And so they were like Captain Kirk and Spock and whatever, and they recreated the sets and they were filming it in proper 60s.
Is that Star Trek Continues?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. I'm familiar.
So that kind of, I think, was sort of a catalyst for it. I, for some reason, was really drawn to the Companion Chronicle range of Big Finish. I loved sort of going to bed with headphones in, just being pitch black darkness, listening to like someone's voice tell a story and like narrate the story rather than the sort of full cast dramas. And I remember the first time I listened to Resistance, I was like, I could do this. I could literally do this. And so I wrote a big list of all the things that I had that I could make this story, and I did it.
In a way, there's a juxtaposition between that and finding a missing episode, in that you have the audio of something and then you get to see the visual, but in your case you had to make the visual.
Yeah. So I just listened to the audio and like transcribed it into a script, basically, a shooting script, and then I contacted Big Finish because I went and asked permission from various people to do it, and Big Finish put me in touch with the writer, and the writer sent me his script, but his script was written as prose, basically, because that's how it's spoken.
Yeah.
So it
was
wasn't
this
really
one?
that helpful.
Is this a story where it had a full cast, or it was?
No, it was
just one.
Yeah, it was just Annika Wills and I can't remember what the other guy's name was, but he played the pilot character in it.
Right.
So it was just a two-hander.
Okay.
I think there's only one scene where it's completely them back and forth, but the rest of it is Annika Wills narrating and the pilot doing his lines when it's his bit. The good thing about that story was that Jamie and Ben disappear at the start very quickly, so it is just the Doctor and Polly for most of it, and as they encounter all these other different French characters, and then there's the pilot character. So,
and how did you come across your TARDIS prop for that?
So I built that prop. So my dad made me a TARDIS when I was a kid, and then in a sense, that sort of kickstarted my woodwork. Like, I was really interested in building sets and things like that, so I built essentially it was a new series TARDIS,
right?
Which, looking back on it, was a bit shit.
Sure.
But
because how many TARDISes have you made? Just that one for Resistance?
Yeah, so I made that one for Resistance. Oh, well, sorry, it wasn't for Resistance. It was just one that I built when the new series came out. I was like, I'm going to improve this thing. And then when we did Resistance, we had our last shooting day. It turned out to be an absolute nightmare. We were in the middle of nowhere in a field, and it just had a torrential like downpour storm. It was awful, and the TARDIS got a little bit wet.
Oh.
So it had to be rebuilt. And so I rebuilt it, but more in the sort of Troughton style. And I kept it for a few years because we were going to maybe do another one, and then we never did. So I pulled it apart, and now I don't have it anymore.
Well, that's quite authentic to the 60s era where things would change.
It needed a new roof as well, yeah.
Yeah, right. Were the windows the right size?
When I redid it, they were.
Okay.
But initially they were not. It was also of those days where you didn't have plans. Like, the plans were from someone who just approximated it off a VHS. Like, it was...
Yeah.
It wasn't in that era of trying to get things accurate and things like that.
What year did you make Resistance?
That was 2013.
Right.
And I built that TARDIS in 2007. So it was around for a while.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I don't know why, but I just, watching my dad make things for me as a kid, that sort of got me into building sets and things like that for my Star Trek films.
Because I've seen your Dalek and I've seen your Time Destructor. What have been the highlights of your construction work from your Star Trek films?
I mean, they're mostly sort of set pieces. I sort of realised very quickly when I was doing it that there were a lot of sort of design elements that could be repurposed or put in a different way that you could make other sets. So usually when I approach doing a film, and usually we try and do sort of 3 in a short space of time so that you sort of cover the costs for building particular things. We'd sort of build like walls that had particular sort of lighting panel design on it. Doorways you can always reuse. There'd be columns. Some of them had like light boxes that sat on the floor and the ceiling. Control panels that you could repurpose, change the graphics on and things like that. So that's kind of how I learned how to be smart about building things like that. The show that we're doing now at the moment on YouTube, which is called 10 Forward Test Kitchen, is essentially that kind of style of being able to make a sort of Star Trek inspired kitchen with the visual elements that people would identify as Star Trek, and then using those elements to make smaller sets to tell sort of little mini scenes within those videos. But in terms of like props and stuff, there's a lot of people who make kits and electronic kits and things like that. So we've made a couple of phasers and tricorders, like pads. There's a laser scalpel that was pretty cool to put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot of it is scratch built. It's mainly from garage kits that people put together on eBay or Etsy, and just finding some really good high-res auction pictures to work out what color they're supposed to be and what graphics they're supposed to have. And
you mentioned your YouTube channel. You've got you one for each, one for Star Trek, one for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
One is longer running than the other.
Yeah, so the Star Trek channel, originally I was doing like vlogs when I was a kid, so that sort of transformed from that into being Star Trek specific.
Is that still up there, all those old vlogs then?
No, they have been well hidden. But yeah, so I started doing Star Trek fan films, I think in 2016 was when we first posted one. And that was just something that was like a throwaway short film. And then about a year later, I got an email from someone saying, "Congratulations on your award wins." And I was like, come again? And he was like, "Yeah, you won these 2 awards at this Star Trek fan film festival thing."
Which you hadn't entered, I suppose?
Hadn't entered at all.
Brilliant.
Didn't even know it existed. And yeah, as it turned out, we'd been nominated for a couple of awards, and we'd won 2, Best Actor and Best Short.
What was the premise of that film?
That one was essentially 2 characters in a disaster situation. So there'd been like some attack on this ship, and there was one character that was stuck in a corridor and impaled with a pipe, and there was the other character on the bridge that had no power, and so they had to work together basically over the comm system to save the ship. So it was 2 sets, 2 characters, very low budget short film, and then somehow it had been entered, nominated, and won some awards.
Amazing. And were these original characters? You weren't trying to recreate? So I feel like I don't see you recreate, casting someone as Picard or as Data or something.
I just find that really difficult to sometimes accept that as a viewer, mainly because I think most of the time it's done, the person is not an actor, and they bear little to no resemblance to the character, / they portray the character with no similarity in tone and things like that.
Right.
And I also think like it's a massive universe. You don't have to tell the same story with the same character.
It's a difficult thing to do, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think Resistance would be the only one where you have cast a pre-existing character.
Yeah.
Then.
But it was one of those. I mean, I remember going into that thinking, if I do these auditions, we had 50 people wanting to audition for this thing, and there was like 3 days where we went through audition after audition. But I was confident that like if I can't find the right people for this thing, I'm not going to do this. And the same has been for my Star Trek films. If I can't find the cast for it, I'm not going to do it. We were going to do a one-off sort of short film, Star Trek film, recently that had the Chakotay character from Star Trek Voyager.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to find someone that either looked like him or could give a performance that was a bit like him, and I just could not find anybody. And I was like, never mind, we won't do it.
Well, it's better to have that outlook, I think, than forging ahead with something you're not totally happy with.
Yeah.
Your channel, I have recently appeared on your channel.
Yes.
With our review of the X06 Picard figure.
Correct.
You've done a lot of figure reviews. You've done Doctor Who ones more than Star Trek. Was this your first Star Trek one?
Yes. I've done a few prop reviews, or prop replica reviews for the Star Trek channel. But yeah, this is the first sort of collectible type thing.
Now, why is that? Because I know you collect these figures. So is there an avoidance of talking too much about I think collectibles versus the films?
You're trying to sort of work out what people are going to engage with, which is really difficult because what's been really funny about doing this cooking show, the Star Trek cooking show that I'm doing at the moment, is that I was very tentative about doing it because I'm not sure how many people would enjoy it, and as it turned out, it had been the most popular thing on my channel.
Yeah.
And the same, I guess, comes with reviews. You kind of have to gauge what the populace is really interested in. And I think sometimes those more high-end collectibles of like figures sort of people are outpriced by them.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to buy it, so you're not that...
Yeah, invested.
Yeah, invested in it. But you do want to see what they look like in hand before you make your choice. I'd be happy to do some more of those, by the way. I think I might start a little collection myself. Are you continuing the Next Generation theme, or are you going to branch out and do other shows? I have Data and Geordie on pre-order.
Okay.
Yeah, because they've done a second run of those at X06. But I don't want to branch out too much, just not to hurt the wallet. But
Correct.
there's a few that I would like. I'd like Master Replicas to come through with their Doctor Who 1/6 scale figures that they've picked up.
I would also like Master Replicas to come through with some purchases I made as well. But anyway.
The old Big Chief figures that never materialised.
Yeah. I actually saw some of those on eBay this morning. Someone was selling them locally.
Oh.
The Doctor Who ones. John Pertwee and Hartnell and Clara and Rose.
Yeah, sure.
But they'd rerouted the hair for the female character. So I guess someone had done a custom
job.
hair job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pricey, but cool.
I need a proper cabinet for them as well, because you don't want dust getting all over your most expensive collectibles. There's a piece in your collection that we both have a lineage with, which is the great Tomb of the Cybermen helmet.
Yes.
Which was originally made for me by Aaron Climus over in the Eastern States, and is now in your collection. Yeah. That is another thing that dates back to 2016. It's be celebrating its 10-year anniversary. Are you going to do a 10-year anniversary sort of celebration for your fan films?
Thought about it. I thought about going back and remastering the first one that I did.
Yeah.
And I visited it because it was shot on a Canon 7D in 720p, and it was not up to scratch to be upscaled. One of the many things in this world that's not meant to be upscaled.
That's right.
But yeah, so I decided not to do that. So I just did some social posts at the start of the year about it. But otherwise,
fair enough. And do you have plans for this Cyberman helmet of yours?
I would love to do a fan film with the Cybermen.
I'd be very interested to see that happen.
So if you can write one, I'll produce it.
I'll just knock her out a Cyberman script for you.
I was hoping Josh was going to come up with something, but
just crack the whip over Josh.
But it's probably a bit too early, like period-wise, because he's very Hartnell.
I'm sure Josh could write us a Troughton era.
Yeah.
Why not, Josh? You know.
But I'd love to make the full suit. I've got all the I've got the material and the piping and the.
This is what I would love to see. Yeah, the golf. Are they literally? What are they? They're a very common type of. Are they golf balls? They're not. They're some sort of.
Well, the funny part is that now they've come back into fashion because of pickleball. So they're about the size of a pickleball.
Yeah.
Ball, but
I recognise them, but I don't actually know what they're for. They're a very particular type.
But they're practice things, which I tried to source, and I got sent the wrong ones, and they were very expensive, and I'm stuck with them. It's very annoying.
You couldn't send them back?
I tried.
Brilliant. Buyer beware. I'd be very pleased to see. I consider the helmet an old friend of mine, so to see him complete on a suit and menacing some actors in a garage, that'd be pretty
And you
cool.
also had the chest unit.
Yes, indeed. Again, an example of mine not being handy at all. I had it in pieces for the entire time that I owned it. But you put it together, and that was quite nice.
Put it together in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
As soon as I got it.
I thought it looked nice as a sort of deconstructed,
It was an art piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Modern art.
Yeah.
What are your plans going forward now, apart from this desire to make a Cyberman fan film? Do you have any concrete plans coming up for a film?
Not really. We're sticking with this sort of Star Trek cooking show at the moment that we've been doing, which is, with the idea going into it was that it was going to be less time consuming than making proper fan films, but has since become more time consuming and has overtaken my life. I
couldn't imagine making food for a video. That's the thing.
To be honest, that's the easy part. Everything around it is the hard part.
What's the hard part around it then? Because I thought that's the main thing.
Well, so I shot myself in the foot by being like, I'm going to do a little sort of in-universe scene at the start of every story. Yeah. And I was like, and I'm going to change the background so that, if it's an original series, it's going to be an original series set. It was TNG, it'll have a TNG set. And then our next one is going to be Quark's Bar from Deep Space Nine. So I'm trying to work out how to do that.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mustn't let your brain spiral into these extra ideas,
So, yeah. But, and then, we've got the Doctor Who Workshop channel on YouTube. That's just sort of, there's like a Dalek, builded Dalek partwork series.
Is it a Hatchet partwork? Yeah.
So we've been doing that, and making videos for that. And then sort of, whatever sort of character option action figures come along, or various prop replicas. I'm keen to do reviews for that.
Are you happy with the current state of Star Trek and Doctor Who? I know they're both sort of
grim
not
at the moment.
being made, really. But apart from that,
it's it's a bleak outlook. There's sort of nothing to look forward to.
At least with Doctor Who, you can dream about missing episodes and then have it come true.
That's true. That's actually been the highlight of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Apart from the colorizations, of course.
Oh yes, the War Games and the Daleks
in colour. The Abbot of Amboise, famously. Yeah.
Canonized.
Yeah. The most popular reels that I've put out on this podcast is me talking about the Australian censor clips and my clip of the Abbot of Amboise that made it into the show, which is just goes to show people just want to hear about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, actually.
It's a pretty insane sort of story.
Yeah.
It's hard to know if it was an accident or it was on purpose. Like, it's just
I'll have to speak to whoever chose the clips, really, for the finale. It would not surprise me. It smells of like the thing that used to happen with Troughton, where people would use the picture of him as Salamander.
Oh yes.
On all the Three Doctors target cover and all this sort of thing.
Tell you what, that's excellent for engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love a bit of like telling you how wrong you are.
It is odd that both franchises find themselves in a sort of not a wilderness years as such, because we know we've got a Doctor Who coming out, and we've
do we
allegedly, and Star Trek is not in production, but it has episodes coming out. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think season 4 and 5 of Strange New Worlds and season 2 of Starfleet Academy have already been shot and are in the can. But I read the other day that apparently they've dismantled, or they're beginning to dismantle the sets for the shows that are in Toronto, and they've gone to they're going to sell it off at a local auction house. So I think that might be a confirmation of the end of the road for this particular iteration of Star Trek.
Yes, I think, what are we waiting for? The merger to go through with
Paramount, whatever the big conglomerate it's going to become.
And we'll see how interested they are in making Star Trek at the end of the day.
Well, apparently they're interested in doing films.
But I suppose they're interested in making money. So yeah.
It's funny to sort of explain to people how different the sort of streaming model of operation is compared to like network TV. Because I know, people are always like, oh, it's a 10-episode season and it's really short, and why don't they make more? But
yeah, I think television's got itself into a bit of a predicament where it's become so expensive, and they're trying to make it look like film. I think maybe we could learn something from these, 60s master plan type episodes where you look at the way they were made, and they're basically just shot like a play. Yeah. All in a row with all the sets in one studio.
But some of it's very dynamic. Some of those shots, I can't remember how many scenes it is, but certainly one comes to mind in Master Plan Part 1 on the Dalek ship, and it's literally one shot, and it just moves in and out, and the movement is choreographed in a way that just the framing hits the mark every time.
It's masterful, Yeah. And if we could get back to that multi-cam scripted drama type of television, I think you could make it for a lot cheaper than the television that is made now.
Yeah.
You could go back to a little bit of quantity over quality. It sounds counterintuitive, but we could have a bit more if we don't feel the need to make it in 4K and have everything be single camera, and that we could have a lot more opportunities for people in the industry to make programs, to get work, if we went back to a model like that. It seems like I'm just being nostalgic, but
things that blow my mind is like when they say sometimes it's films, but I feel like it's verging into TV, where like 95% of the background is all CG. It's like, do you really need that much control, or is it just laziness up front, and then you pay tuppence to like the people that are visual effects artists to fix it all, like in art, like it just
and it'll go towards AI anyway these days.
So it's like what how is this so expensive?
And I think about, for Doctor Who it was the Jodie Whittaker era where we went towards like, was it anamorphic lenses? It was very...
Yeah, that definitely had a different style to it, yeah.
All the work that went into whatever set you're on, or whatever is in the background. The focal length, the backgrounds were so blurry all the time.
There's an episode in Jodie Whittaker's second season, I think it's where they meet Captain Jack on that spaceship, and it's so oddly colour graded. There's like digital noise from not enough light in the set, and it's so weird. And you're just like...
Made in 4K, that episode.
Yeah, but why? Like, did it need to be? Do you ever watch those studio footage like compilations on the Blu-rays?
Yeah, the raw studio tapes.
Oh, I love it.
I don't think we have that anymore. We've
I could
lost
sit
that,
there
I
and watch that
suppose.
for years.
Yeah.
I love hearing the floor manager being like, "Quiet."
Quiet, please. Lots of lovely hush. Quiet!
Yeah, there's like hours of time flight that I could watch over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't suppose any of that really exists now for modern Doctor Who, because
No,
they don't
it
just
isn't.
continuously record.
I was watching the one from Planet of Fire the other day,
Yeah, right.
and just the venom that this poor floor manager had to dish out and then cop was just incredible. And there's one bit where they are Turlo and Perry are walking to the TARDIS, the bedroom where he dumps her on the bed, and their feet are white because the floor hadn't been painted in time. And there's like a quip from Mark Strickland, and he's like, he looks at the camera and he's like, maybe next time we could paint the floor before we get here. And you're like, whoa, that's a
shout out to your channels again, which is These Are the Voyages, is your Star Trek
Voyages
channel.
Fan Films is Voyages Fan Film on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. 10 Forward Test Kitchen on Instagram if you like cooking, and Who Workshop on Instagram and YouTube.
The Who Workshop, not to be confused with the Who Shop, which
No.
is where you can go to buy Doctor Who merchandise at incredibly inflated prices. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
Until
thank you very
next
much.
time.